Mission Impossible 7 was fantastic. Hello?
BudsterBrown, your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to review Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing already.
Oh, well, that was kind of it. This message will self-destruct in 3 seconds. 3.
Again?
2, 1.
Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Wow, what a name. I thought this movie was a ton of fun and maybe even cinema excellence. However, before I get into this movie, I just want to tell you guys to please comment. Not even like and subscribe. Just comment. I put effort into these videos, but I always want them to get better, and I could really use some feedback. I'd like to hear what you guys think about my video.
Good or bad?
And I promise you that if you guys comment, I will read every single one of them. I'll even take the coveted first. However, if not, I'm just glad that you're watching my gorgeous face and listening to my luscious, beautiful, buttery voice. Now, back to MI7. Once again, I'm going to start off one of my reviews with a light summary. Ethan Hunt is doing impossible shit. Oh, that's all of them? Oh, well, that's awkward. Pretty much, there's an AI program stealing information, has the ability to manipulate whoever, whenever, through algorithmic patterns, can make someone invisible on the radar. Pretty neat stuff. It's a lot of power for one man, and the only key to control it is a key. Big shocker there, guys. So, Ethan Hunt and a bunch of other people are going after this key for different reasons so they can figure out what to do with this AI program. Sprinkle in some set pieces, sprinkle in some smart writing, sprinkle in that Tom Cruise riz. Bing, bang, boom. Mission Impossible. Let's be real, most of you are coming to Mission Impossible for the set pieces. And let me tell you, Dead Reckoning Part 1 delivers. There's so many things that happen in this movie that are just awesome on a pure spectacle basis. There's submarine espionage warfare, airport heist, battles in the desert, car chase in Rome, weird ethereal nightclub in Venice. I'm running out of fingers, and I still have more to go. They have a great throwback to the first Mission Impossible with a train fight, and of course, you have Tom Cruise in real life riding a motorcycle off of a mountain into the abyss. Like, why? I'll tell you why. It's freaking Mission Impossible. It was awesome. This man's crazy. Tom Cruise is gonna die on a set one day, and it will be sad. But also weirdly fitting. And then throughout all of those set pieces, they have these cool, unique assassins, one of them being the girl from Guardians of the Galaxy, who just has a really fun vibe to her, like kind of crazy, psychotic, I love killing people vibe, and that's awesome. There's just so much grandiose spectacle, but it all feels really well implemented. Like, off of the set pieces alone, I would say you should see this movie. Now, I'd be remiss if I talked about Mission Impossible without mentioning this one man's efforts to make it come to light. You know who it is? Timothy Alan Cruise. Okay, his name's just Tom Cruise. Point is, Bro bought a cruise ship so that they could keep all of the cast and crew there during COVID so he could film the movie. Quite excellently, by the way. Man risked his life in a death-defying stunt. You gotta give him props. However, it's not just all of the things he put into this movie behind the camera, behind the scenes. It's what he brought to this movie in his performance. Once again, Ethan Hunt is such a charismatic, likable, super spy figure. Ethan Hunt to me is like the American version of James Bond in the sense that I never watched the Bond movies growing up. My movies were Mission Impossible. But Ethan Hunt is just such a fun character. He's charismatic, he's vulnerable, he makes mistakes, but he's also incredibly intelligent. He's just a really well-rounded character that there's so much to like, so much to bask in the coolness, but also laugh at his mistakes. Tom Cruise's chemistry with other actors on this movie is top tier, top notch. The new addition to this cast, I believe, is Haley Atwell as Grace. You might have seen her as Peggy Carter in Captain America, and honestly, that's the only other thing I can recall seeing her in. But she does a great job. The way that Ethan and Grace bounce off each other in this movie is super entertaining and smartly written, as they have a different set of skills. They're constantly one-upping each other while also reinforcing the idea that they have different techniques and why both of them are important to whatever mission is going on. And like I said, that is a ton of fun. And honestly, the chemistry between just all of the actors is super great. Simon Pegg returns as Benji. Vin Rames returns as Luther. What's entertaining is that Luther and Benji have their own dynamic, and then they both individually have an interesting dynamic with Tom Cruise, which means that everyone has their own unique, well thought out character interactions with each other that makes the movie a super entertaining watch alone, based off of just how characters interact with each other. One of my favorite sequences in the movie takes place in an airport where there's multiple teams with multiple objectives all interacting with each other. And to say that the writing in the scene blew me away would be an understatement. I just was basking in how smartly written it was. I think the writer of this movie wrote Usual Suspects, and it shows because dude wrote scenes in this movie that were just so clever and so like that feeling in my gut where it's like, ooh, that was cool. Ooh, that was awesome. Ooh, I like that. Which is something that you want to see when you go to a movie. You don't want to sit in the movie and just be like, I like the intellectual thing they did there. That was fun, I guess. I also think the movie tackles some really relevant things that, have scared me for a little bit. Like I said, AI is kind of the main villain of this movie in the sense that it basically has access to all information, meaning that it has more accurate algorithms in predicting people's behavior, stealing information, controlling certain technologies. To me, that's a much more realistic use of AI from what we're seeing right now. A lot of people are worried about AI making Terminators and whatnot, and that's a worry too, to be sure, but the avenue they're going with in this movie is much more applicable to our current status. It adds a lot of weight to all of the action you see, all of the character interactions you see. Interaction, that was actually pretty good. However, as much as I wish I could just keep saying this movie's perfect, there are a couple little issues I have with this movie, unfortunately. One thing that I have to say is that the movie has some pacing issues, which, I'd be like, but Wonder, earlier in the movie you said that the sequences were super well written and smart. And you'd be right in that sense, but the sequences are super well written. But the way that those sequences flow in the typical 3-act structure of a movie can feel a little bit rough at times. It flows more like 5 episodes of a TV show rather than an actual movie at times, at least to me. Here's another issue I had. While I mentioned AI is the big bad of this movie, there's also like a main henchman, since, AI doesn't exist in a physical form. So AI has this guy to do their bidding, and they try to force this relationship with this henchman named Gabriel and Ethan and be like, they're secretly connected long ago in the past, and where the frick did this come from? And so a lot of the emotional interactions that take place between Gabriel and Ethan felt a little bit forced. Nothing too terrible, never like, oh my gosh, this is so stupid. Just in a way that's distracting, especially when the rest of the movie is just so tightly written and well executed. And although I said tightly written and well executed just now, there is a couple of moments my suspension of disbelief was just completely shattered, blown, and obliterated into small pieces. And weirdly enough, almost none of that suspension of disbelief problems I just mentioned related to the set pieces themselves. It was just like very convenient situations. Like I said, most of the movie was completely fine. There's only like 2 scenes that really kind of bugged me, just peeved just a little bit. My last complaint about a movie is not really a complaint, but more of like, could have been a little bit better, is that the movie's climax was good. There was cool things that happened, but it wasn't great, amazing, blow your socks off. It was good. Yeah, it was good. Good climax. It wasn't super generic. It wasn't terrible. It just felt good. In any other movie, I'd just give it a pass. It's just the fact that this movie's first 2 acts are so crazy, amazing, and awesome that when I got to the last act, I'm like, yeah, this is good, but there seemed to be a little bit of a teetering off in the quality that, at least compared to the first 2 acts. But that's not to say that the ending was bad. In fact, there is a worry, because it's labeled part 1, the movie is just going to cut off, kind of like Spider-Verse and Fast X. That's not the case with this movie. People are looking for an item, the MacGuffin. And by the end of the movie, that conflict is resolved. There's still things to look forward to. It feels like there was a complete story that took place. And once again, I think that was good. But yeah, guys, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 was a super good time. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Dare I say, peak. The chemistry between actors was fan-freaking-tastic. Everyone killed it. The motivations were high stake, and they really connected all of the set pieces, which were in and of themselves baller, crazy. Loved them all. The writing was super smart in the way that they balanced certain scenes and different characters in individual sequences that I really thought was executed to perfection. The movie also tackles super relevant ideas, adds a more sinister element to AI that we can be worried about that hasn't really been done before in this way. And all the way ahead, just a couple pacing issues, suspension of disbelief issues, and the last act was just good but not great. The character interactions, for me, mixed in with some really awesome set pieces, are what makes this movie so incredible. Go see it! I don't have a disclaimer, to be honest. Just go. Watch it. Later.